So hopefully this will be strong enough. Anyhow, let me know if this isn't working. Jai Shri Guru Garamagandhar Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Satashmar Shri Bhaktivedānta Narayana Sai Mahārāja Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Satashmar Shri Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Satashmar Shri Bhaktivedānta Sai Mahārāja Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Mahabhagavat Shri Patrikā Mahārāja ki Jai. Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Savagam Shri Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Shri Rupa Gauḍīya Guru Varga ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Padadasha Shri Gosai Prabhu ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gopashad Vrinda ki Jai. Nama Chai Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaur Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Bhirata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki Jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So yeah, let me know if the connection stops working. I'm using mobile internet, not Wi-Fi, because there's something wrong with my Wi-Fi at the moment. Alright, Dandavat Pranams, Antaryami Prabhu, Kagaraj Ji, and Sarangi Radhika Haribo, and Pritam Kumar Vishwas. Okay. So first, before we read this article, we'll sing our two Kesha Vrat Kirtans. First, Shri Vrinda Devashtakam by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Ha Gangeya Champe Atare Vinindi Rochi Pravahas Napitatma Vrinde Bandhu Kabandhu Duti Divavaso Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bimbadarate Tvaramandahasya Nasagramukta Duti Dipitase Vichitra Ratna Paranashiyade Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Samasta Vaikunta Shiro Manoshi Krishna Sya Vrindavana Dhanya Dhani Tattadhikare Vrishabhana Putra Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tadagyaya Palava Pushpa Vrinda Brigadi Madhava Keli Punja Madhati Bhanti Vibhushamana Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tadiya Dutena Nikunjayunor Adyutkayot Keli Vilasa Siddhi Tatso Bhagam Kena Nirochatam Tad Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Rasa Vilasho Vasatishta Vrinda Vanetare Shangri Saroja Seva Labhya Chapum Sankripayataiva Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tvam Kirta Sesa Tvata Tantra Devi Lila Vidhana Kila Krishna Shaktis Tavaiva Murtis Tulasi Vriloke Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhakta Vihina Aparada Lakshat Shittashtaka Mati Taranga Mati Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prabhana Vrinde Deva Vrindavana Dishapata Chabhega Sabra Vrindavana Nedava Sankatema Seva Lavate Kritartha Vrinde Namaste Charanaravinda Vrinde Namaste Charanaravinda Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi, Vrinda Devi, Devi Jaya, Vrinda Devi. Keshavashtakam by Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī. Navapriya Kamanjari, Rachita Karna Pura Shriya. Vinidrataramalati Kalita Shekareno Jala Tarochvasita Yutika Katita Valgovarika Shaka Opranata Shingi Male Ashabakshi Bakshi Priye Iti Sasura Vikulam Tara Pina Deshata Keshava Kana Pranaya Meturan Madhura Narma Goshti Kala Virasa Nilaya Milag Vivida Vesha Vitotina Sakena Kila Saraya Patishuha Sayantam Kira Braje Vijayina Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Shamam Bhavali Daravilida Kantantara Samura Giri Dhatu Udancharali Mandali Tutiridandi Bhagalaka Raje Vijayina Vipina Deshata Keshava Nivata Navatarnaka Bali Vilokanotkantaya Natat Puraputan Chalar Alokupir Bhuvam Indati Hari Chanchali Krita Dukula Chura Chala. Oops, sorry. Chala Tarala Naichiki Nichaya Doli Tumra Saja Marola Hari Chanchali Krita Dukula Chura Chala Praje Vijayina Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Vilasa Murali Kala Tvani Virula Sanmanasa Shanarakila Bhalavi Ulakayantaman Bhakri Urvida Datang Hridi Pramudita Jagoштeshvare Gade Vijayina Bhaje Vipina Deshata Keshava Upetapati Sundari Tati Virabhira Gachita Sankura Karampitai Natarapaka Bhagi Shatai Stanasthavaka Sanchara Nayana Chanchari Kanchala Praje Vijay Radha Keshava Idam Nikhila Pallavi Kula Mahotsavo Lasana Kamena Kilaya Puman Patati Shushtu Patashaka Ujvala Diyam Sada Japadara Vendadare Radhendadara Chanchala Sukayata Vishaka Saka Raje Vijayina Bhaje Vipyate Shata Keshava 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 Jaya Keshava De Jaya Keshava De Keshava De Jaya Keshava De Jaya Keshava De Keshava De Keshava De Jaya Keshava De Hari Bol. So let's see. Is it working okay? Is it cutting out a ton? Let me know. Right now it says that my connection, I'm getting, what is it? 5 out of 10. Okay. Anyhow, I'll just keep on checking every now and then to see that it's still working. The sound is a bit glitchy. It seems like a digital glitch, so probably either the internet or maybe there's too much ambient sound for your native mic. I think it's the internet since I'm using a mobile connection right now, not the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi isn't working for some weird reason. I'm using a friend's Wi-Fi connection. Actually, he's in a different room, so let me move this over closer to his room. Okay. All right. Hopefully this will be better now. Right. So today's article is special. I really love this one. It's been a long time since I've read it. But it's by Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja, who joined the Mat at a very young age. I think he was 12 years old when he left his family completely. Well, his mother offered him actually to Param Gurudev, and this is during Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time. He used to go to the Bhaktivedānta, what is it called? Bhaktivedānta Institute? No, that's not what it's called. God, what is wrong with my memory? Anyhow, he got Harinam initiation from Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but he never considered himself a disciple of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. He always considered himself disciple of my Param Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So this article is The Mercy of Sri Guru and Gauḍīya. It was the editorial for the 33rd year of the Gauḍīya magazine that he was in charge of. And I'm just checking back. Oops, I forgot to hide this. All right. Oh, that's Rup Manjari. Okay. Haribo Rup Manjari. Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā includes both Ashray and Vishay. Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā has entered its 33rd year. This year, the Patrikā has auspiciously revealed itself, carrying both the Ashray and Vishay Vigrahas, the abode of love and the object of love in deity forms in its heart. Shishi Guru Gauranga Radha Vinod Bihariju. And there's a footnote. On the front cover of the 33rd volume of Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā was a photograph of Shishi Guru Gauranga Radha Vinod Bihariju. Shri Radha Krishna, the divine couple who perform mental pastimes, have appeared as Shri Gauranga. And the purpose of Shri Guru's existence is to reveal the beauty and grace of service to both these aspects, to Shri Radha Vinod Bihari and to Shri Gauranga. Shri Chaitanya is never without Shri Krishna. Rather, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Dev is alone he who imparts actual information about Krishna Tattva, and it is from that Krishna Tattva alone that everything, both manifest and unmanifest, has come into being. Shri Gaur and Shri Krishna are both Vishaya Vigraha. Shri Gauranga Tattva and Shri Krishna Tattva are never subjugated by any phenomenal object, any mayak vastu. Rather, material nature, prakriti, time, kala, action, karma, and so forth are under their control. Both these tattvas are replete with complete knowledge, purna gyanmay. They are the embodiment of eternality, cognizance, and bliss, Sadanandamay. They are Purushottam Tattva, the Supreme Person. They are the original progenitors, before even beyond where the doctrine it is not possible for material history, which is comprised in place and circumstance, to encompass them, because they are the supreme absolute reality. They are not imaginary people as described by Bankim Chandra. Who is Bankim Chandra? Bankim Chandra was a Bengali novelist who lived at the time of Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. His speculative descriptions of Shri Shri Radhakrishna's pastimes won him much acclaim. Okay, where am I? So, they are not imaginary people as described by Bankim Chandra. Rather, when we consider that their name, their nam, and their self, the possessor of that name, Nami, are non-different, then we find that Shri Gaura and Shri Krishna are the supremely worshipful absolute truth, and the only entity really worth cherishing. The birth and pastimes of Shri Bhagavan are transcendental. Although he is unborn and eternal, Shri Bhagavan appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga, and again in the following age of Kali. The descriptions of his appearance simply relates to his manifest pastimes within the mundane realm, although his birth and pastimes are eternally present on the transcendental platform. He is Swa Ichamar, made of his own sweet will, unimpeded and completely independent. Therefore, it is only because of his causeless mercy upon the jivas that he manifests himself in this mundane realm and shows them compassion. According to what he deems necessary, that all-powerful, omnipresent Bhagavan may be either very close by or very far away from the phenomenal world or from the jivas. He is Akilasamrita Murti, the reservoir of the eternity of all eternal supramundane humors. For the souls who focus on him with one-pointed attention, he is Kanta, the most beloved, as well as Pranapati, the Lord of our life. For the multitude of mothers and fathers, he is the worshipful Shri Bal Gopal, and he is the true friend of the distressed, Dinabandhu. And indeed, of the whole world, Jagat Bandhu, he's the friend of the whole world. If the jiva cannot become friends with him, then he must live where the enemies of the Lord reside, accepting powerful villains as his friends. Thus he invites terrible calamities. Someone who becomes convinced that any living entity other than Sri Krishna is Bhagavan, and who therefore begins to serve him, will eventually give up his decaying mood of service and himself become the enjoyer of service. Thus, the misfortune of becoming gripped by material inertia comes upon him as he identifies with his mundane false ego more and more. As a result of his downfall, he takes lower and lower births, first as an animal, then as a tree, a plant, and ultimately as a stone. Surrender unto Shri Guru and Vaishnav is the sole cause of complete auspiciousness. It is for the very purpose of delivering the souls from this downfall that Shri Guru, who is supremely compassionate, appears in this world. Because he truly feels pain by seeing the suffering of others, his paradukha dukhi, it is vital that one surrender to him. Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini alone is the original abode of love for Shri Krishna, Ashray Vigraha, and Shri Varshabhanavi Daita Das, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is fully sheltered by her. He and his one-pointed followers appear as Shri Guru in the pastime of delivering the world. Without their causeless mercy, it is not possible for the jiva to be delivered from his bound condition and devote himself to the service of the transcendental entity. For this reason, the following statement is emphasized. Tasmat sarva prayatnena gurum eva prasadayet. To be delivered from one's conditioned state and attain the service to the transcendental entity, one must please Sri Guru with his every endeavor. Sadguru is the only real guardian of the sadhak, the genuine practitioner of bhakti, and the sevak, servant. He's the only real guardian of the sadhak and the sevak. He is their all in all. Without his transcendental glance without his transcendental glance of affection and his kind assistance, it is not possible to progress even slightly on the path of sadhan bhajan. That is the reason for introducing the statement Acharyavan Purusho Veda. Only one who receives diksha from the acharya and follows his path can know the absolute truth. It is extremely difficult for those who are ignorant, faithless, and full of doubts to ascertain the truth about the absolute reality. Therefore, in their auspicious invocations, their Mangalacharan, the sadhus, shastra, and those in our Guru Varga remind us, Hari Guru Vaishnav Tiner Smaran, Tiner Smarane Hoy Vanchita Puran. By remembering Hari, Guru, and Vaishnav, all three, all of one's aspirations are fulfilled. The distressed state of the conditioned souls and the means to obtain release from it. By dint of their own misdeeds, conditioned souls undergo the results of their karma in the form of repeated birth and death. To the degree that their desire to perform mundane activities increases, their bondage to the cycle also increases. If by chance one has accumulated sukriti, spiritual merit, in past births by serving Sri Vishnu or a Vaishnava, either knowingly or unknowingly, then he will obtain the bona fide Guru's mercy. By nature, conditioned souls are intoxicated by sense gratification and maintain interests separate from Krishna. Thus, they remain intent on serving karmis, jnanis, and yogis, and have no inclination to serve Vishnu and the Vaishnavas. The life is to obtain wealth, women, and prestige, kanak, kami, and pratishta. They accept as their instructing spiritual master only someone who helps them fulfill these aspirations, and thus they invoke worldly entanglement filled with material desires. However, for the welfare of the jivas who possess sufficient spiritual merit, Sri Bhagavan sends his intimate associates as Mahant Guru, the great spiritual masters. This is truly the kripa, or mercy of Sri Krishna. In turn, the kripa of Sri Guru is to bestow upon the jiva service to Sri Krishna. The implication is that Sri Guru plants the tendency to serve Sri Krishna within the heart of the jiva in the form of the bhakti lata bij, the seed of the creeper of devotion. It is only by the fruit of this service tendency that one attains Shraddha Bhakti, devotional service imbued with transcendental faith. This is indeed the simplest path to obtain bhakti. Whoa, we're learning this verse tomorrow in our shloka group. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. This whole topic. It's cool that anyways. I can read this part when I explain it, when I do a video explaining a shloka. The relationship between Sri Guru and disciple, and the consequence of being rebellious to Sri Guru. Anyone who pretentiously... Wait, let me just check 1 second that the internet's still working. Oh. Your Guru would recite that Hari Guru Vaishnava verse over and over. That's awesome. All right. Okay. The relationship, and this article, I'm just letting you know, the end part of it is one of the most juicy things you'll ever read. It's amazing. Anyways, we'll get there. The relationship between Sri Guru and disciple and the consequence of being rebellious to Sri Guru. Anyone who pretentiously serves Sri Krishna while acting independently and rejecting the guidance of his Diksha and Shiksha Gurus out of pride and envy will only obtain fruitless toil. Sri Gurudev only instructs the supremely confidential matters of sadhan bhajan to those who serve him with profound intimacy, Vishramba Seva. One who sincerely follows these instructions given by Sri Gurudev easily obtains the mercy of Sri Bhagavan. If the disciple follows Sri Gurudev without duplicity, knowing him to be his best friend and benefactor, and the most worshipful Swarup of Hari, then Sri Hari becomes pleased with him. Those who have a mood of enjoyment, but who falsely maintain the ego that they are a genuine sevak, are actually antagonistic toward the mood of service. Man, that's heavy. That's okay. I'm just going to read that again. I need to hear that. Those who have a mood of enjoyment, but who falsely maintain the ego that they are a genuine sevak, are actually antagonistic toward the mood of service. They find fault in the orders and instructions of Sri Guru, claiming them to be unfair and inconsiderate. By this, they clear their own path to hell. One who follows the order of Sri Guru without any considerations easily obtains his mercy. But if we disregard the example of Srila Ishvara Puripad and misuse our independence like Ramachandra Puri by neglecting the order of the spiritual master and harboring the desire to find faults with him, we will become degraded and leave the path of bhajan. Ascertaining the qualifications and disqualifications of a Guru Sevak. A Guru Sevak, or Guru Das, is humble. He looks after everybody with love and affection. He is truthful, and he observes purity of conduct. He is intelligent, free from lust, anger, and pride, and he is attached to serving Sri Guru and Bhagavan with faith and devotion. He is free from disease. He is in control of his senses, and he is compassionate. Only someone who is devoid of false ego, who is not envious or lazy, who has no mamata, sense of ownership for anything worldly, who performs his spiritual practices with resolute determination, and who does not see the faults in those who are actually full of good qualities, who is free from the tendency to gossip, and who is inquisitive to know the truth, only he is eligible to be called Guru Das. On the other hand, those who are lazy, egoistic, miserly, full of anger, gripped by disease, attached to the objects of the senses, greedy, fault-finders, envious, deceitful, foul-mouthed, malicious to devotees, proud of their learning, propagators of others' faults, sadistic, and unwilling to accept Sri Guru's discipline, remain deprived of Sri Guru's mercy because they are unable to receive it. Even one who skeptically relies on the 6 forms of reasoning is unfit to be Guru Das. The injunctions and prohibitions related to the services directly performed by the Guru Sevak, as well as the same in relation to the words of Guru and Shastra, also need especially careful consideration. Okay, so the injunctions and prohibitions related to the services by the Guru Sevak, as well as in relation to the words of Guru and Shastra, need to be especially. Okay. Sri Guru and his Sevak are eternal. Therefore, the relationship between Guru and disciple is eternal. One must not consider Sri Guru to be a mortal being. When the jiva's absorption in the mundane realm is finally destroyed, he realizes his eternal intrinsic identity, his Swarup, as Krishna Das. At that moment, he attains perfect understanding of the excellences of Brihat Chaitanya, the infinite conscious being, and the Anu Chaitanya, the infinitesimal conscious being, as well as their distinguishing attributes. Okay, this is the part that I was talking about. This is where it gets really juicy. The special virtue of Sri Guru and Gauḍīya is their service of distributing Mahaprasad. The 4th verse of Guru Vashtakam, composed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, says, Chatur Vidashi Bhagavat Prasada Swadana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangan. There's a poetic translation of this Ashtakam written in Bengali. Charva Chushaleya Peyara Samoy Prasadana Krishner Atishvadu Hoy Bhaktayashvadane Nijatriptaroy Vandishe Gurur Charana Kamala. From the Bengali rendition of Sri Guru Vashtakam by Shishimad Bhaktivedānta Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja. The 4 kinds of foodstuffs, which are chewed, charvya, sucked, drunk, peya, are filled with ras, with divine nectar. Find out later that ras also refers to the four rases, dasya, sakya, vatsalya, and madhurya. Anyways, so they're full of ras, divine nectar. When these foodstuffs are accepted by Sri Krishna and become his prasad, they become exceedingly tasteful. Sri Guru always becomes satisfied by making the devotees relish such prasad. I adore the lotus feet of such a Guru. So that's the key word in here. Rasamoy. Rasamoy. Through one special elucidation on this verse, we learn that Sri Gurudev attained supreme satisfaction by making the multitudes of Hari Bhaktas who are completely free from anarthas relish one of the four types of Bhagavad Ras, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhura, according to their own moods of service in their eternally perfect forms, their Sarup Siddha Seva Bhav. Let the lotus feet of such a Guru be the sole object of our adoration. There's a footnote here. Only satisfied when he successfully makes the relish the nectar of serving Lord Hari in one of four rasas according to their own Sarup, or eternal identity. See, so this verse, even though normally we think of this verse as Guru being pleased when he sees his disciples, taking Bhagavat Prasad, which is full of ras, but actually this is a deeper meaning of that verse, that he becomes satisfied, tritam, when he sees the devotees relish the nectar of serving Lord Hari in one of the four rasas. So it's not referring to the rasas that please our tongue. Anyways, okay. Therefore, today we hold the merciful lotus feet of Sri Guru on our heads, and according to his orders and directions, within our hearts we nourish the hope of distributing many varieties of Mahaprasad from the festival of the Gauḍīya, a festival that brings about the meeting of Vishai and Ashrai. So the Gauḍīya refers to the magazine, the monthly magazine, that and so it's a festival. It's full of Harikatha, and this Harikatha, speaking Hari, distributing Harikatha, that means distributing Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad means, anyways, let's see what the footnote says here. Okay. The general meaning of Mahaprasad is remnants of foodstuffs offered to Sri Krishna. However, in the festival of the Gauḍīya, distribution of Mahaprasad refers to the broadcasting in the form of Harikatha and Kirtan, the glories of the pastimes wherein Vishai relishes the service moods, the Seva Bhav, of the Ashrai, and one of the four rasas. This is how the word Mahaprasad should be interpreted throughout this article. So throughout this article, we're going to see the word Mahaprasad coming again, and it has a double meaning everywhere. Everything in this now that we're reading has double meaning. We do not know how successful we will be in accomplishing this heavy responsibility, this Guru Daitva of distributing such Mahaprasad. Still, we maintain great hope and firm faith within our hearts that by the mercy of Sadguru, a lame man can traverse mountains and a dumb man can become qualified to perform Krishna Kirtan. It is an extremely difficult task to distribute this Mahaprasad. Shri Mahaprasad Govinda, this is Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Vāmana Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvaso Na Vajayate. Shri Mahaprasad, Govinda, Shri Nam, and the Vaishnavas are all transcendental, but those who have very few pious credits, Swalpa Punyavan, sufficient intelligence to realize this has not arisen. That's what the meaning of that verse is. Swalpa Punyavatan Rajan Vishvaso Na Vajayate. Therefore, Hari Bhakti Vilas, the law book for Vaishnavas, the Vaishnav Smriti, enjoins that because smartas are absorbed in gross reward-seeking activity, they should be deceived by offering them some worldly thing instead of offering them Mahaprasad. Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā is actually a Vaishnav. So this magazine, Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā, is actually Vaishnav. Therefore, The other three, Sri Mahaprasad, Govinda, and Sri Nam, are all contained within it. By the mercy of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas, we are merely engaged as its distributors. That is indeed our seva. This is him carrying. See, that's a issue of Gauḍīya Patrikā in his hands when he was a young brahmachari. Shri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari holding a copy of Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā. Okay. Shrimati Vrishabhanu Nandini and those in her Anugatya are the cooks of the bhog. Although time, place, and circumstance are not considered when distributing Mahaprasad, it is still prohibited to distribute to faithless people. Clear proof of this is found in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 1867. Idam te natapaskaya. You should never explain the essence of this Gita Shastra to anyone whose senses are uncontrolled, who is a non-devotee, and who is devoid of a serving mood, or who is envious of me. We do not deserve any credit in the matter of distributing Mahaprasad. The sole credit goes to one who cooks the bhog. Okay, what's that mean? The sole credit goes to the one who cooks the bhog. Let's see. Just as the use of the word Mahaprasad throughout this article has a dual meaning, similarly, although bhog generally refers to unoffered foodstuffs, its use here also indicates the jivas who are gradually being prepared to serve Sri Krishna. Alright, so this article is so awesome. Okay. So, we deserve any credit in the matter of distributing Mahaprasad. The sole credit goes to the one who cooks the bhog, to the one who offers the bhog, to the enjoyer of that bhog, and to his merciful remnants, Sri Mahaprasad. Okay, there's another footnote. Srimati Radhika cooks the bhog, associates such as Mother Yasoda offer it, and Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself enjoys it. Is exceedingly dear to her and truly cherished by her. Her friends Lalita and the other Sakis have full rights to her remnants. Okay, there's another footnote here. Srimati Radhika prepares many different arrangements and different rasas for Sri Krishna's satisfaction. When he relishes them, she becomes satisfied, and in turn, her satisfaction causes friends like Lalita Saki to become fully satisfied. To follow this, it's really, yeah, I know it's really esoteric, but yeah. Because everything has a dual meaning here, so you see, like, so preparing the jivas means like, anyways. Shri Guru, that means preparing the bhog means nourishing the jivas. Bringing out their relationship with Krishna, either as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, or as a beloved. And then, so by preparing the jivas, then Krishna will be able to enjoy him. And that's like cooking the Mahaprasad. And then, anyways, okay. Shri Guru Padma, who is the best among the followers of Sri Rupa Gosvāmī, becomes completely satisfied by causing the jivas to taste that Mahaprasad in accordance with the respective qualifications in a particular ras. After Sri Krishna's remnants, Mahaprasad, are tasted by the Bhakta, they are celebrated by the name Mahaprasad. This is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. These remnants bear unlimited potency. The fully ripened nectarian fruits of the desired tree of Vedic literatures, Srimad Bhagavatam, emanated from the lips of Sri Shuka. And when it comes into contact with the lips of those in our Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, it becomes sweeter than the sweetest. You know, like in that third verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it talks about Nigama Kalpa Taror Galitam Palam Shukamukar Amrita Tarava Sumita. Just like when a parrot, touches a mango, then the mango, it pokes its beak inside a mango, then it's said that the mango becomes extra sweet. And so in the same way, when this Harikatha comes from the Srimad Bhagavatam, comes from the lips of Shukadev Gosvāmī, this Katha of Bhagavatam, which is already sweet, becomes even more sweet. And when it comes to our Rupanuga Gauḍīya Guru Varga, it becomes even more sweet. So let's see. Becomes sweeter than the sweetest. Let's see, there's a footnote here. In this context, Mahaprasad indicates that when any Rupanuga devotee relishes within his heart the descriptions of Sri Krishna Lila from Srimad Bhagavatam, which are the Mahaprasad of Sri Shuka, then when he explains them to others, they become even more sweet and potent. All right, where are we? We nourish the longing to become so blessed as to be distributors of that eternal sublime substance, Mahaprasad. So this is our longing. There's a footnote here. The Mahaprasad being referred to here as the eternal sublime substance is the devotee's descriptions of Sri Krishna's pastimes, as well as the descriptions of his own words and instructions. I think that's clear. Therefore, without being in the Anugatya, the shelter and guidance of Srimati Radha Thakurani, who cooks the bhog, as well as in the Anugatya of her followers, like Varshabhana Vidaita Das, Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur, who is Sri Radhika's Nayana Mani Manjari, and he who is celebrated by the name Kriti Ratna, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, who is Vinod Manjari. We will never become qualified to be a maidservant assisting her in the service of cooking the bhog and distributing Mahaprasad. This is the indisputable truth. Without Anugatya, the influence of adverse activities while preparing the bhog will result in a burnt lump of food. Without Anugatya, the influence of adverse activities while preparing the bhog will result in a burnt lump of food. This is comparable to the gross fruits of the smarta's activities, karma. Such endeavors do not produce the fruits of real seva. They will just invite seva aparad, a hope to obtain service to Sri Patrikā and an expression of gratitude for those who are serving it. I convey my due respects and gratitude to the readers and subscribers of Sri Patrikā, to those who approve of it, to those who render any type of service to it, and to those who act as instructors and advisors in producing it. Finally, praying for the mercy and blessings of Shri Guru Gauranga, Radha Vinod Bihariju, Shri Lakshmi Varaha Nrsingadev, Shri Radha Giridhari, and Shri Girirajju, I conclude these statements about the present year of Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā. Translated from Shri Gauḍīya Patrikā, year 33, issue 1, March-April 1982. So wasn't that the most... That was all an explanation of the fourth verse of Guru Vashtakam. Chatur Vidashri Bhagavat Prasadam. Yeah, that was... This is that kind of thing that you have to like read it again and again and again and again to like really be able to grasp it. But yeah, it's so beautiful. All right. Yeah, wasn't that awesome? Okay, let me get... Okay, I'm just going to do a quick Maha Mantra. Oh, that's a nice, yeah, also a nice. Okay. Yes, magazines are festivals. Yes, the Gauḍīya Patrikā is a festival, definitely. All right. Hare Krishna. And also the magazines are Vaishnav. So when these transcendental magazines like Gauḍīya Patrikā, or these Rays of the Harmonist magazines, which only have our Acharya's words in them, nothing else, no conditioned Jiva's words, it's associate, like being with the magazine, he said it's a Vaishnav. So that means you're doing sadhu sangha. When you're holding these magazines, you're actually in sadhu sangha with a real sadhu sangha, not just some like Vaishnavas that are on my own kind of same level and like my peers and stuff. But no, this is like pure sadhu sangha, with Mahabhagavats. That's what we should look at with all these literatures, all these books on our shelf. These are sadhus. Whenever we're reading them, we're reading, like topmost sadhu sangha. Okay. And we can have a whole festival just by reading them. We can participate in the festival of these scriptures. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Jai Gurudeva, Jai Gurudeva, Jai Gurudeva, Jaya Guru, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jo Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Jo Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatar Ashtatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatar Ashtatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatar Ashtatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatar Ashtatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatar Ashtatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Mahabhagavat Srila Gokshadas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitilapa Vishnu Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dashagunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Chai Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Go Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyaya Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vancha Patarubhyascha Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Dandavat Pranas. Yeah, this is how our acharyas relish these verses. See how deep he goes just into one verse of Guru Vashtakam, which we just think is, Sri Guru is happy with his disciples taking prasad. He becomes satisfied when his disciples are satisfied in taking prasad. That's what we normally think of when we read this fourth verse of Guru Vashtakam. But you can see how deep our acharyas go into these verses, how much is contained within these verses. They can just, my Gurudev writes in the beginning of Bhakti Rasayan that this is the process of performing bhajan, like the traditional process. You chant one verse and you go deeper and deeper and deeper. You dive deeper into it, and the whole night will go by just in meditating on one verse, and then you float onto another verse, and then you go delve deep into it. And everything is contained in these verses. We just see like very basic translation, and we have some very basic idea, but everything is contained in this anyhow. And you just see a little glimpse of that. Vāmana Goswami revealed a little glimpse of what our acharyas experience when they when they chant these verses. Anyways, okay, Jai Shri Radhe Hari Bol.